Jon Favreau has been fascinated with Star Wars for years, but he recently mentioned that for him, the most intriguing part of Star Wars has been the first act of A New Hope. Even more specifically, the cantina scene in A New Hope. That scene has fueled the fire that started the writing process for The Mandalorian many years ago. By simply asking himself what was happening during that scene, Favreau has unleashed a magnificent wave of creativity that has brought us the amazing story of The Mandalorian. But how did Favreau land this amazing opportunity? Although his first breakout moment in Hollywood was as an actor and screenwriter of the film Swingers, Jon is better known for kickstarting the Marvel Cinematic Universe with the original Iron Man movie. And although being the man behind the first MCU movie certainly made Favreau a great candidate for writing and producing his own Star Wars series like The Mandalorian, there was actually something incredible that happened during the production of Iron Man. Jon Favreau was actually editing the Iron Man film at Skywalker Ranch, and at the same time and place, none other than George Lucas and Dave Filoni had been working on the Clone Wars animation series Season 1. Now for those who don't know, Dave Filoni was chosen by George Lucas himself to direct and produce the Clone Wars animated movie in this series that aired for 5 seasons on the Cartoon Network. So at this time, he was basically the Padawan learner of George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars himself. And thankfully, these two great storytellers, Jon and Dave, formed a lasting friendship at Skywalker Ranch that would lead them to working together on Star Wars in the not-too-distant future. During this time at Skywalker Ranch, Favreau must have shared with Dave Filoni that he was a massive fan of Mandalorians. So no doubt when Dave Filoni and George Lucas decided to explore more of Mandalorian history in Season 2 of their series, it didn't take much to convince Jon Favreau to voice one of the characters. Not to mention Dave Filoni asked him to play the epic Mandalorian character Pre Vizsla, the leader of Death Watch. But Favreau didn't just have the honor of voicing a cool Mandalorian character in a Star Wars series. He actually voiced words written by George Lucas himself specifically for this Pre Vizsla character. Furthermore, Pre Vizsla's speech to Obi-Wan Kenobi isn't just random. It's an extremely important speech that tells us fans a great deal about the Mandalorian lore and the history of the Darksaber. But as epic as it was to have Jon Favreau voicing a character in Star Wars, it was only the beginning, of course. Way back in 2016, Disney acquired a minority stake in BAMTech, a streaming technology company. They then followed that up in 2017 by acquiring a 75% ownership of that company, and of course announcing to the world that they would be developing a Disney-branded streaming service that we now know as Disney+. So one can speculate that with the launch of a streaming service to rival Netflix, Disney wanted to bring a Game of Thrones level series to their service, something that would cause massive hype and therefore massive signups for their streaming platform. And when looking around for talent to create a fantastic story, they of course were able to secure Jon Favreau himself. But the making of The Mandalorian hasn't been without its faults. The announcement that Jon Favreau was taking the lead of the project came at a disappointing time and got this project off to a rocky start. The Disney or Lucasfilm marketing department had announced yet another white male to take charge of a major project, which for some would have been disappointing in itself. But add to the fact that they made this announcement on International Women's Day, and the mainstream and Star Wars specific media had an absolute field day. Not to mention the millions of people on social media. That all said, with time, people and the media moved past this blunder, and announcements of actors, directors, and first looks at the sets all helped to do so, with actors such as Pedro Pascal, Carl Weathers, and Gina Carano joining the cast, and talented directors such as Dave Filoni, Tico Widow, and Deborah Chow leading the way with this series. People had a lot to get excited about. Not to mention the amazing images that were slowly being released, and then the short clip that came out at Star Wars Celebration. Many people at this time were saying that they were more excited for this series than the Rise of Skywalker movie. But that all said, what really cemented The Mandalorian as a must-see series was the absolutely amazing trailer that was released at D23, Disney's very own convention. This trailer looked every bit as good as any Star Wars movie trailer, and the idea that the Disney Plus channel was going to have a series that at least looked as fantastic as HBO's Game of Thrones was a reality. But of course, the only question left for fans now is, will this be one of the greatest Star Wars stories of all time? If you'd like to watch a similar video on Dave Filoni, one of the directors of The Mandalorian, then please check it out on the end screen here, or just check out one of my other videos. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.